Kris Jenner's surprising romantic history has come to light, especially after her daughter Khloé Kardashian accused her of being a cheater on the latest episode of The Kardashians. The 67-year-old reality star and manager has had several notable relationships and marriages, including with Robert Kardashian, who gained fame during the O.J. Simpson trial, and Caitlyn Jenner, 73. Kris has openly acknowledged having an affair towards the end of her marriage to Robert, who passed away in 2003 at the age of 59. This affair significantly impacted their relationship and ultimately led to their divorce. The affair with former soccer player Todd Waterman was highlighted when Khloé reacted strongly after Kris attempted to advise her about her ex, Tristan Thompson's infidelities. DailyMail.com takes a retrospective look at Kris's romantic life and the relationships that have influenced her reality TV career and her well-known family. Kris's first marriage was to Robert Kardashian, the man behind her family's famous surname. The attorney, who was friends with O.J. Simpson from college, married Kris Houghton in 1978, after they had met earlier in the decade when she was just 17 and dating golfer Cesar Sanudo. Their early relationship was rocky, leading to a breakup during which Robert dated Priscilla Presley, while Kris was involved with photographer Alfred M. Garcia. Kim Kardashian mentioned on Keeping Up with the Kardashians that her father was even briefly engaged to Priscilla before they parted ways. After reconciling, Kris and Robert married, and she gave birth to their first child, Courtney, in 1979. Kim followed in 1980, Khloé was born in 1984, and their only son, Rob, arrived in 1987. The couple separated in 1991 and divorced the same year, although they remained good friends until Robert's death from esophageal cancer in 2003. Robert Kardashian is best known for his role on O.J. Simpson's defense team during the 1994 trial for the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman. He and Simpson had been friends since their time at the University of Southern California, with Simpson serving as Robert's best man at his wedding to Kris. Even before the trial, Robert was involved in controversies, including being seen carrying a garment bag that prosecutors suggested might have contained murder evidence. Despite letting his law license lapse, Robert reactivated it to volunteer on Simpson's defense team, which also protected him from being compelled to testify about the case. Years later, he confessed that he had doubts about his old friend's claimed innocence, and they eventually severed all ties, even after Simpson was acquitted in his criminal trial. One of the reasons for the breakdown of Kris Jenner's marriage to Robert Kardashian was her affair with Todd Waterman, which occurred toward the end of their relationship. Waterman, now known as an Emmy-nominated animator and television director, was a 23-year-old soccer player for the LA Heat when he and Kris began their affair. In a recent episode of The Kardashians, Kris's daughter Khloé brought up the affair while discussing how to handle her unfaithful ex, Tristan Thompson. When Kris suggested that Tristan would likely be devastated to see Khloé move on, Khloé asked, "If you're going to be devastated, then why did you do what you did?" Kris started to respond but hesitated, prompting Khloé to ask about her mindset during her affair with Todd Waterman, which ultimately led to her split from Robert Kardashian. Kris appeared taken aback and replied, "You're asking me," to which Khloé retorted, "Who else am I talking to?" The episode concluded with a note that the conversation would continue in the next episode. In a 2012 interview with DailyMail.com, Todd revealed that he and Kris began their relationship in 1989, more than 10 years after her marriage to Robert. His first encounter with her was not in person, but through a photo he saw at a friend's house in Beverly Hills. Kris first disclosed the affair in her 2011 memoir, Kris Jenner, and All Things Kardashian, where she referred to Todd by the pseudonym Ryan. She described falling in love with the athlete and artist after feeling unappreciated and neglected. His name was Ryan, and he was a producer. He looked like Rob Lowe. For a moment, I thought he was Rob Lowe, she wrote. He was so cute, young, dark-haired, with a great body. We started talking. She also shared her excitement about their first kiss, which marked the beginning of their affair. That kiss was more than amazing. It felt like a revival, a resuscitation, an awakening from a long, deep, unconscious sleep. I hadn't been kissed like that in 10 years, she wrote. It made me feel young, attractive, sexy, and alive. Along with those feelings came a wave of nausea. I actually wanted to throw up at the same time because I realized I hadn't felt that way with Robert for years, Kris confessed. However, the affair also filled her with immense guilt over its impact on Robert and the end of their marriage. I had lost Robert. Suddenly, I realized everything that was wonderful about my marriage. Robert was the greatest guy in the world, she admitted. He would never cheat on me. He only wanted the best for me. Kris lamented how she had treated Robert so badly, despite the fact that he adored her. To this day, I still can't explain why, she reflected on her decision to begin the affair. It felt as though my body was possessed by demons or aliens, and I felt a deep sense of shame. However, Kris mentioned that she didn't attempt to reconcile with Robert, fearing it would be disrespectful after betraying his trust. I had embarrassed him, humiliated him, and destroyed him, she wrote. After the memoir was released, Todd came forward, sharing his real name and details about their affair. He described their time together as crazy and passionate, recalling that their first sexual encounter happened after a night of dancing at a club. They returned to a friend's house and chose a closet for their initial intimate moment. It was a magical night, surreal, he said, adding that it felt like fate had brought them together. Todd took offense at Kris labeling his apartment in Studio City as tiny and dumpy, pointing out that it was she who encouraged him to rent it so they could have a private space. She picked the apartment. We found it together, Todd stated. He humorously noted that they were prolific during that time, although he speculated that Robert might have suspected the affair when he seemed to try to disrupt Todd's game during a tennis match with Kris while Robert watched. Kris later asserted that Robert hired a private investigator to uncover their affair. After this revelation, they began to be seen together publicly, but Robert confronted them as they were leaving Todd's apartment. The former athlete described this frightening encounter, where Kardashian chased after his Jeep with a golf club and struck it. Todd was driving Kris home at that moment, but she urged him not to confront Robert for fear he might be armed. In his interview, Todd recounted Robert's high-speed chase, which was soon followed by the lawyer filing for divorce. He expressed heartbreak over the end of his relationship with Kris, and noted that Kourtney appeared to be the only Kardashian child who was truly upset by the affair and the divorce. He also dismissed rumors that he was Khloé's father, defending Robert as her real father. Todd shockingly revealed to DailyMail.com that he continued to have sexual relations with Kris for several months after she began her relationship with Caitlyn Jenner in 1991. The former athlete, who was presenting as a man at the time, married Kris later that year. Todd claimed he then moved to London to move on from their relationship, but had an emotional conversation with Kris 3 months into her new marriage after she called him. He stated that Kris didn't reach out to him again until she emailed him in 2000. She suggested they meet up sometime, but despite him proposing various times for coffee, she hesitated each time they tried to get together. They went on to grow their family, welcoming their future model daughter Kendall Jenner in 1995 and their cosmetics mogul daughter Kylie Jenner in 1997, marking the last of Kris' children. Kris and her Olympic gold medalist husband enjoyed a seemingly perfect marriage for many years, until it took a dramatic turn in 2007 with the launch of their family's reality show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The couple even renewed their marriage vows in 2011, with their trip to Bora Bora featured on the show. However, 2 years later, Caitlyn and Kris announced their separation. They finalized their divorce in 2014, and in 2015, Caitlyn publicly came out as a transgender woman and revealed her new name. Caitlyn later disclosed that she had informed Kris about her transgender identity years before and had been taking hormone therapy during their marriage. Initially, Kris and Caitlyn's daughters, Kendall and Kylie, had a lukewarm reaction to the news, but they later mended their relationship with Caitlyn, who became an advocate for trans rights. Kris is currently in a relationship with her longtime partner Corey Gamble. She started dating Corey, a talent manager, in 2014 while going through her divorce from Caitlyn, although they waited a year before making their relationship public on Instagram. Since then, they have been nearly inseparable, and he frequently attends events with her famous family. However, Corey has taken a more passive role in family decisions, especially regarding their reality shows, Keeping Up with the Kardashians and its more recent Hulu series, The Kardashians. Kris has occasionally worn a large diamond ring on her wedding finger since getting together with Corey, but she has stated that she has no intention of marrying again. The couple was last seen together earlier this month during a trip to Paris Fashion Week.